Number two, you need to create a brain trust. How many of you have heard of the term brain trust? Okay, gotcha. So it's a little bit more of like a government term, very much think tank type of thing. What I call a brain trust is a small group of people, usually small, who you trust, who know your intention and are invested in you accomplishing it. They want to see you succeed, period. It could be members of your family, but I think it's better that it's people who are different than you, because your mom and dad always want you to succeed, but they're also not going to give you criticism either, right, if there's something that you're trying to move forward on. So what I mean by that is that it's impossible for you to fulfill your dream on your own. That's not going to happen. A quick reference back, when I was up in Silicon Valley, I was hanging out with people who were wannabe entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, people who went public with their companies and all that stuff, people who were trying to get started, as well as venture capitalists who give you the money, people who were in charge of universities and colleges and all that stuff who were involved with startups. And I don't know if you guys know the Bay Area, but it's kind of like being in DC and everyone's connected to government. It's the same thing. Or New York and everyone's connected to finance. So it's really easy to be in that environment. All these people I connected with, again, through the New York Post, through Playboy, and a lot of the publications that I wrote for, and still write for. And what happened was that I built a relationship with them, and I respected them, and again, at that time, I had no interest in being an entrepreneur. So suddenly, fast forward 3 years later, it's fall of 2014, me and two co-founders are just literally working in our basement, the equivalent of a basement, working on this little app. That comes out. The next day, we're on late night TV. A week later, it's the #1 app in America and in other countries, and we have 100,000 users. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. I've never been a co-founder before. Like, I didn't know what I'm doing. I had founded the little app So Quotable, but that was, what do you call it, a cult favorite. That was never on that scale. And suddenly, we're getting on the cover of the Wall Street Journal and all kinds of crazy stuff. Who do I call? I call the VCs that I used to know. Right? I call the people that have gone public. I call the people that have had an app successful for 10 years and are making money with it. I call the people that have failed. I already had my brain trust in order. So the success with the app and selling it a year later, that wouldn't have happened without the brain trust. Now what's great about it is that if you look to your left or your right, these are the perfect people for you to talk with. You should be doing that already. And I'm a lone wolf, as the professor mentioned. I will do stuff on my own, I will run with it, I will go. But even I have the wisdom, as a lone eagle, I have the wisdom to know that I need other people. And with the run that I had with those two startups in a row, particularly the bigger one and later, you need other people to help your dream happen. Also, other people are perfect people to become your co-founders. So when we started Cuddler in 2014, I was the one that knew the culture of it. So I knew about technology and how it connects people. I was a journalist, so I knew how to approach the media and all those things. User interactions, I was able to communicate with the users because I knew what they wanted. We had another co-founder who was excellent at programming. And we had a final co-founder who was an artist. I can't draw anything, and I'm a pretty bad programmer, even though I got my app out initially. So I didn't have to learn that final 25%. I didn't have to learn the final 50%. I did what I did best. And I was able to focus on that. And by focusing on that, I helped us succeed overall. Same thing with my other two co-founders. Now, I have a colleague named Sri Srinivazan. I can always screw up his name. But I've known him for several years. He's now the Chief Digital Officer of New York City, because they just are getting serious about digital finally. Anyway, what he talks about is a thing called the ask. Capital T, capital A. The ask. And the ask is when you need something. When you need something, do I just talk to you and say, hey, I need $5, can you lend it to me? How's that gonna work out? That doesn't work out too well, right? If someone on the street just said, hey, I really need you to give me a lift somewhere, that probably wouldn't work out. But if it was someone that you built a relationship with over the years, then that makes a little bit more sense. And that's what the ask is about. So building up those relationships now, building up that community. And you happen to be in the perfect environment for that. Because once you guys wrap up here, then it's like little marbles being dispersed, and you will start to crave the kind of networking and connection you can do now.